Sonic Heroes was released in 2003 for the PS2 by the acclaimed Sonic Team. No, that's not a euphemism, that's the developer's actual name.
Heroes is a 3D action title where you can choose from 4 different classic Sonic teams: Team Sonic, Team Dark, Team Chaotix, and the obvious choice, of course, Team Rose. Sonic has experimented with co-op and team-based play before, but the squad-like dynamics seen here were new for the franchise. So let's see how Sonic Heroes holds up and if we can figure out just what made this title so memorable. The story of Heroes is threadbare. You have 4 teams, each with different motivations to confront and eventually take down Dr. Eggman. That's about it. While the motivations for starting the adventure varies, the end goal is always the same. For instance, Team Rose wants to find Froggy and Chocola, while Team Chaotix is getting paid to take down Eggman. There are 4 different stories, but major events like boss fights and dust-ups with other teams are repeated throughout. The 4 campaigns are just long enough to warrant playing them all, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people rented this at their local Blockbuster, beat Team Sonic, and then just called it a day. Honestly, after one campaign, you've pretty much experienced everything the game has to offer, so I get it. It is a little bit hilarious, however, that Team Dark had to be rounded out with a robot. There is an in-universe explanation for that, but it sure seems like Shadow is just so angsty he doesn't have enough friends to round out a team, so they had to create one. Okay, now what we're all here for, the gameplay. Each mission can be broken down into one of 3 main game types: open 3D levels, bonus levels, and my personal favorite, the boss fights. Most of your time will be spent in open 3D levels. This is where you usually move from end to end of the map by traversing obstacles, running, and defeating enemies. Sometimes you will face waves of enemy robots and you just have to defeat them all to progress. That's when you realize that most of the enemies don't actually have AI. Rather, they just move around in patterns and they shoot at you if you wander into their line of sight. This makes the enemies more environmental obstacles than worthy opponents. Most of the time, you can just dash right past an enemy before it even hardly has time to react. In the open 3D stages, you just need to move to the end, except when playing with Team Chaotix, but more on that later, trust me. These levels are meant to be cleared as fast as you can, but there is also some room for exploration and even divergent paths. Next up, there are bonus levels, which are accessed when you complete a stage while carrying a key, which will be dropped if you get hit by any enemy. The bonus stages are usually races where you dash after an emerald while collecting balloons and trying not to run up the wall like a cracked out Spider-Man. High scores and emeralds net you extra lives. Lastly, we have the boss fights. These include the terrible fights against enemy teams, which suck, but hey, at least they're short, and the pretty awesome battles like the one versus the Egg Emperor. Let's talk combat. Throughout your adventure, you will control one of 3 heroes, each of which approaches combat differently. Power characters like Big and Knuckles are designed to defeat enemies. Flyers like Tails, well, they fly. And speedsters like Sonic are good at running through loops. You directly control one character while the other 3 follow you. Whichever character you choose determines your character's formation. For instance, when in the power formation, your squad mates will auto-attack any nearby enemies. Oddly, this is the only time your squad will attack nearby enemies because I guess the rest of the time they just don't give a shit. When the game is working the way it's supposed to, you get into a complete state of flow, where you just move from one area or platform to the next, defeating enemies and switching out squad mates at will to overcome obstacles. And yes, it can be insanely fun. When you're flowing, oh yeah, you're flowing. There are 4 campaigns for you to flow through in Heroes, one for each team. Team Rose is kind of like easy mode, Team Sonic is normal mode, Team Dark is hard mode, and Team Chaotix is dear God, just please kill me now mode. You see, in all these campaigns, you're mostly moving to the end of the map, but not with Team Chaotix. Oh no, it is not that simple, you silly boy you. Instead, you get to hunt for MacGuffins throughout the level. And guess what? If you miss one, you get a teleporter back to the start of the stage to begin the whole thing again. Doesn't that sound like fun?
No! God, please, no!
There is a very high skill ceiling, and the game can be a lot of fun once you reach it. But until you do master Heroes, oh boy, you should buckle up. With that, I have to touch on the elephant in the room, the difficulty. Heroes has no difficulty setting, which is old school, and I like that. However, in this case, I have thoughts. In general, when a game is forgiving of a player is forgiving of a game. But when a game demands perfection from a player also demands perfection from the game. The main way, no, dare I say the only way to die in Heroes is from endless pits. Falls kill. Yes, there are enemies, but outside of boss fights, they rarely pose any real threat. At most, you will get hit, drop a key, and lose some rings. No big deal. Nearly every stage is over some vast expense where you can easily descend to your death. It's like an entire campaign that takes place in terrariums on a Zeppelin. The problem comes because you are just the slightest bit janky. Specifically, all your characters are apparently wearing invisible rollerblades, and the ground, I assume, is covered in more baby oil than at a Diddy party. You will repeatedly go careening off of ledges to your death at staggeringly low speeds, or get nudged just a bit by an enemy attack to kill you. This game does not understand physics at all. It is 0 to 100 in 0.5 seconds. Even simple, basic maneuvers will result in you going over the edge and dying. The game requires very precise movements, often at very high speeds, but there are just enough little quirks to drive you absolutely mad. For starters, there's knockback, so an enemy can easily push you off, like that Giga Chad Kirby in Super Smash Bros. You can also be nearly stun-locked, since phasing invincible after getting hit is bafflingly brief. Not to mention, sometimes enemies just spawn right on top of you. Often the camera can't be moved or it will just get in the way, and oh, best of all, attacking kind of makes you nudge forward just enough to make you lose control, overcorrect, and then die. On top of that, there are just a few little design instances of needless cruelty, like this nonsense. Why? What was that? Was that necessary? One of the most confounding bits of Heroes is that it's not broken. The game is working largely as intended. The Sonic team is based in Japan, and some of these criticisms are just cultural differences. Japanese games in the 90s and early 2000s were often unforgiving in this way. I just think they went overboard here. Maybe the biggest critique that I have is the game intends for you to complete it 4 times. That makes this a serious time commitment for anyone who wants a casual action experience. Heroes is for the hardcore, and that limits the audience and the scope of the title. Okay, this is going to be a hot take, but I preferred Sonic Boom to this game. I know. Don't crucify me, but I'm new to Sonic games. I usually play shooters, beat 'em ups, or strategy games. Sonic Boom made me give Sonic a try, and Heroes makes me feel like I was right to avoid this game for most of my life. I appreciate Heroes for what it is, but it just doesn't do it for me. That doesn't make it bad. It was made for a specific audience, and if that audience is you, go on with your bad self. Grab rings and crush mustached robots until your heart is content. I won't stop you or rain on your parade. Look, Sonic Heroes is fun, but by the time you realize how fun it is, you might be so exhausted by falling off of ledges that you just may not care anymore. So, if high speed with a side of jank isn't your style, maybe skip this one. Now, if you excuse me, I have to run.